Hello everybody, it's Mimberly and welcome back to the channel. Today is gonna be a big one. It's a discussion video, but this is a bit more personal because today I'm going to be talking about the goods, the bads, and my personal predictions leading up to 5.0 for Love and Deepspace. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Mimberly. I am a full-time YouTube creator based in the UK, and a big chunk of my content is predominantly gacha game related. So in particular, the game I'm probably the most well known for by this point is Love and Deepspace. I've been playing the game for probably since October 2024. I started my Love and Deepspace journey back in September of 2024, where I was reacting to all of the Love and Deepspace trailers, and then eventually starting my own journey in the game itself. So I've been very predominantly playing the game since October 2024, and I'm actually an official creator for Love and Deepspace. Not to toot my own horn here, that's still one of my best achievements yet, but as somebody who's been playing the game for well over a year now, I have had a lot of time to develop my own thoughts and theories with relation to Love and Deepspace, and I kind of wanted to make a video leading to January where we're going to be predicting patch 5.0. I want to talk about what I enjoy about the game, what I think needs to be improved about the game / little nitpicks, as well as what I personally think and hope is going to be in 5.0. So let's start off the good video with a good thing. Let's start with the positivity, because we like to start, I tend to be a lot more on the positive side on this channel anyway, because I think there are enough channels out there that talk about the negative side, so I want to bring some attention to the positives first. As a new player, and you know, around this time a year ago, I've made some notes on my second monitor here, so if you see me looking over this side, it's because I've actually, for once, made a script leading into this. So the first thing I want to talk about is the presentation of Love and Deepspace and the 3D, graphics and animation. So essentially, it's got really good cutscenes, especially after Death and Rebirth. I think they really upped the standards with regards to the animation, and they have extremely good design on the love interest. At the end of the day, if we didn't find the men attractive, we wouldn't be playing the game, but Love and Deepspace has definitely absolutely smashed it out the park with regards to design, because they have brought out, you know, many outfits over the last, at least the last year that I've been playing the game, and it's actually pushed me to a point where I really do actually spend money on these outfits, because I'm like, they're just so well done, and we do, as a community, I think we all just appreciate these men. We really do, and I have never had a community, in my personal opinion, that has been so welcoming, at least to me. I know that has not always been the case, but we will be talking about that later on in the video. You know, the character models are really good. I think the movements and the animations are really, really good. As someone who temporarily wanted to do animation and then looked into it and immediately got overwhelmed and then backed the hell away, so I was like, nope, I'm going to leave that to the talented and the professionals. I am very impressed consistently by the quality of content that Love and Deepspace at least pump out. The story and the lore is probably going to be the thing I will put up the most, because the amount of lore and thought that has gone into the story and the lore of you know, the main protagonist being who we call MC, and all the different love interests, they all tie in together, but they also are their own separate thing. And I think Love and Deepspace has done a very good job of keeping them separate. No two characters are the same. We've all got our sense of trauma, which, yeah. If any of you have seen my recent Silas Myth playthrough, you'll know I cried multiple times like an absolute baby. And I think the game has a character for everyone. I think that's just the best way to explain it. The game is very catering towards a very particular audience, and I think this is why, personally, Love and Deepspace has performed as well as they have, especially over the last year. They did not underestimate the power of the female audience who play gacha, because a lot of other gacha games that I've at least played in the past has been very female dominated, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I want to give this disclaimer now. This is not a bad thing in my opinion, but there's definitely a market for some sexy anime men in our lives, and I do think that gacha games just by default don't do male characters as much because they don't tend to sell as well, so they kind of end up being put on the back burner. So when they do post a new mail out, everyone's like, oh my god, we must go for it. But Love and Deepspace are like, nah, we're just going to make a game dedicated to the girlies, I think. And to their credit, they have done an amazing job, because it obviously works. Love and Deepspace make quite a lot of revenue from the game, which I'm going to talk more about the revenue later on, because it does kind of lead to a bad thing, but I'll get into that in a bit. But when I see like videos kind of reporting on which gacha games made the most revenue in this month of this year, Love and Deepspace is usually always in the top 10, and that really surprises me. So I do say that I really like, you know, the game in total. I love the characters. They make the game who they are, and I do genuinely think that Love and Deepspace do deserve a credit and a clap on, a little clap for the way that they have designed their characters. The MC, so the main character, she's a queen, she's an icon. I know there's some people in the community who don't like her, but I'm like, at the end of the day, she's you in the game, so what does that kind of say? And the level of customization for the MC is very good. Now, I will say on this, they do, in my personal opinion, need to implement the feature where you can, change your character's hair color in the cutscenes. And I do wish they kind of had a few more customization options, especially with regards to hair color. So if, say, for example, you have an ombre like I used to have, where I have like dark on the top and red at the bottom, I do think they could go further with the customization and maybe add some more like hairstyles. But I know that, they are slowly doing that as they're bringing out more myths. So I will discount that for the time being. Well, from a content perspective, though, Love and Deepspace can be very overwhelming at first with the interface. Like, when you first get the game, you go, you log in, you make your character, you start the story, you make Xavier first, and then first off, you got a date tab, then you got a battle tab, then you got a memories tab, and then you got things like the with him, the wish system, events, the agenda for your weeklies and your dailies. It can get very overwhelming. I personally was okay with it because I was somebody who had already had experience in gacha, so I was used to kind of dealing with multiple things at once. But for somebody who's never played a gacha game before, I think the interface can be a little bit overwhelming, and I do wonder if there's a way they could like maybe condense it a little bit more to make it a bit more new player friendly. But that's just my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think, because I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on it. The value of the production is really, really good, with regards to, the voice acting in particular. Obviously, I play the game in English dub, so I have not done a reaction to the Japanese dub. If you want me to do that, please let me know, because I would be 100% down. But the voice acting really brings the character to life, and even if the MC is not usually voiced, she's usually voiced in like the main story and cutscenes and things like that, I do think that the voice acting does really bring the boys to life and brings them all together. So I will say, from somebody who's played a gacha game, who had VAs on strike and things like that, which did personally, in my opinion, ruin the experience, I do love that we have amazing voice actors to voice these very attractive men. There is a lot of side content as well, with regards to like the world underneath, the link into the lore, the anecdotes. Obviously, you get the bonds as you level up your characters, and you get other things like the tender moments, the secret times. Obviously, you have events coming on quite regularly, and I do think that is, those are all a lot of really good things. And I can't talk about it without not talking about the combat system. The thing that is driving me mad since the day I downloaded it, but I keep playing for it, is the combat system. I love the combat system. You go, oh yeah, we're gonna download the game and go date these cute men. Reality, I'm sweating because I can't beat Orbit 120. But, when you first start the game, there's a lot of ways to get diamonds, to get in-game currency, to go towards your wishes, and by that I mean your dailies. If you want to, you can purchase the daily login for an additional 100 diamonds a day. The pity system being 70 wishes, I think, is a lot fairer compared to other gachas, at least that I've again played. If you think that they're still being greedy, please let me know, because I would love to hear your thoughts on that as well. But over time, and this is kind of leading into the bads now, the game can get stagnant after a while, because I think there's a big sense of FOMO with this game, so fear of missing out. if, say, for example, this is just to give you an example, my husband is from the United States, so sometimes, and in the future, there may be a time where me and my partner want to go to Texas, where my partner's from, to meet up with, say, my in-laws, right? We might go on holiday for 2 weeks. If there's a solar banner during that time, I would then have to play the event off camera to avoid the fear of missing out. And that is one of the reasons I do keep up with the game as much as I do, because I do have that fear of missing out on potential content. The good thing is once you've actually played it, you can re-access it through the With Him section. But I will say that I personally do get a very big sense of FOMO, and I'm sure I cannot be the only person who says that. So I do really feel like you have to commit to the game to keep up with it. The battle system is really good when you have memories. When you don't, however, or if you're a free-to-play player, this game is not the most friendly of being a free-to-play player, because trying to get all of the materials and like the, you know, the level ups and things like that, it takes a very long time. The wishes alone cost quite a bit, and it's not the most expensive one I've seen, granted. And they do have like discount packs in the game to help you with your purchases if you do wish to spend money on the game. But with how frequent the banners are, and with the fact there's 5 love interests, if, say, for example, you are a poly girly and you go for multiple characters, or if you're like me and try to stick to one character, it can still very quickly build up your bank account. So it's definitely not the most free-to-play game I've ever played, I will admit. The battles get harder, and every time you lose, they'll always say, oh, your cards are of low rarity, pull to get more. And it might be that there is no cards that you can get from the current banner that will apply to your character. For example, I was stuck on orbit 120 for quite a while, and I really desperately needed another, I want to say it was a purple Silas card, and until tomorrow's Catch 22 was run, I think that was the banner anyway, I didn't have a 5-star Silas card. So until that card came out, I was kind of in a bit of I was in a lump, and I couldn't run it on another character, because that would have meant I would have had to put all of my time and effort building another character when I was already halfway through building Silas at the time. So I will say that I don't think Love and Deepspace is the most friendly, and I'm going to talk again about my personal beefs, but my main personal beef is just how grindy the game is. You have to grind for so long to get a character's card to level 80, and then you got the awaken part of it as well. It does get very overwhelming, and I do feel like you have to really kind of plan and strategize how you're going to level your characters. Like, oh, do you want to level up some cards up to 40 and then get really good protocors? Or do you want to focus on getting your character's cards to level 70, but then having the protocors that might be a bit mediocre? You know, those sort of things. And if you're not the best at combat like I am, it can get a little bit overwhelming sometimes. You know, the limited time events, there are so many cards in this game and so much lore hidden behind the cards. And this is another thing that I have personally been quite lucky with regards to having access to an account that does have this content already unlocked. But a lot of new players, once you've caught up on the main story and, you know, that initial big wave of content, the daily routine can get very repetitive, and you tend to miss out on quite a lot of things. Like, for example, I want to talk a moment about the recent Silas myth. There were so many references to relation of the dragon myth in the game, and as well as other parts that you find out throughout the main story. Without giving many spoilers, so if you haven't played the new myth yet, spoiler alert ahead. The new myth dives into the fact that obviously Silas and MC share half of a soul. He has half of hers, she has half of his. And if you didn't play through the dragon myth, you wouldn't quite understand how that happened. There's also multiple references to, for example, the church in the final Kindled. That was from the dragon myth. Then and also link into alternate Darkborn. And there's so many references, not just with Silas, I just comment on Silas because that's the one I know the best, but there's so many references to all the characters really, that if you haven't played that previous content, unless you've watched a content creator like myself, or say another video, I want to say it was Angel's Corner, I think, who did a really good video summing up about the lore with MC, you're not going to have that initial context. So what, for example, might cause me to start crying because I know the true meaning behind it, might not hit that player in particular as well. And, you know, that is the part, I get it, it's part of it, but I do feel like it can be a little bit overwhelming for players to see how much they've missed out on. And the fact that these reruns are now kind of occurring more often, especially after the announcement today that Fireworks Vow, which is a Raphael 5-star card, is being rerun, which again I'm going to talk about in a minute. I do think the game is getting to a point now where you basically always have to be saving, and I feel like people are going to be starting to run multiple accounts to keep up with their individual love interests, which is not nice. I'd rather just keep it all on one account because truth be told, I ain't got the time to be doing that every day. I will admit as well, one thing that I really struggled to get my head around, and I'm not sure if this is just me being stupid, but the interface when you first start the game. As I say, I was okay with it because, you know, I played other gacha games in the past that had kind of similar systems. It was just figuring out their method of doing it. But to a new player who has never played a gacha game before, that interface can be, you know, very overwhelming. There's a lot of different currencies and subsystems. And without having that prior gacha experience, it could potentially be, you know, very overwhelming. But obviously I'm going to be slightly biased about the game because it did get me from like 100 subscribers to 3.11k. So obviously the game is a very big part of my day-to-day life. But talking overall, I want to talk a minute about kind of what I've been noticing from Infolder as of recent. And I'm going to talk about my predictions for next patch. I'm just going to move on to my next page here, so let me just scroll down. Here we go. Okay, first off, let's talk about the main story. We have not had a main story update for a while. When did Love and Deepspace post Death and Rebirth is my question. Let me have a look. So Love and Deepspace, Death and Rebirth. So the official Death and Rebirth trailer dropped 6 months ago. We've not had a main story update in 6 months, and players are begging for it. And I'm going to be completely honest, this is just my prediction. This could age poorly. And remember, just because I'm collaborating with the company, does not mean I get any info. So this is just my own initial gut. I have a feeling that they're going to do some sort of main story update for 5.0. I feel like they'd be very kind of stupid not to. Whether it's going to be like a similar to what they did with the story branches with Raphael, Zane, and Xavier. We may potentially get a more Silas individual story branch. I have a gut suspicion it's going to be a Caleb, Xavier, or Zane one, because I feel like those characters still have a bit more to account for in the main story. But I really do hope that we get a main story update for 5.0. I think that's kind of without saying that everyone's basically waiting for it. And, yeah. I'm just throwing my thoughts out here now. Obviously, we're going to get new banners and memories. We may potentially get a free 5-star. Or maybe we're going to get like another multi similar to the Nightly Rendezvous, which nearly got meme deleted back in the beginning of the year because haha Xavier. But I want to say that I'm going to be expecting a lot more memories. Maybe we'll get like a free 4-star or something. But I want to talk about love interests now. Now, as many of you may know, Silas is basically Silas has been my king. I downloaded the game for Silas, I stayed for Silas. That's just been the way it's always been. But over time, my list used to be Silas, Zane, Raphael, Xavier, and then the potential Caleb, because I started before Caleb was joined into the roster. As time's gone on, that rotation has been going like that. And Silas has always stayed on top, I must say. But Zane, Caleb and Raphael in particular are always fighting each other. So this is getting to a point where I'm getting very stressed because when I see a banner drop and then I see Caleb being adorable or Raphael being a little teasy little shit, it makes me want to pull for them. And talking about love interests, we've had some discussions in the past about a 6th love interest. I think there is going to be a 6th love interest, for disclaimer. I do think there is going to be one coming, and I have a gut suspicion it's going to be someone from Ever. Don't ask me why. That's just my gut suspicion. I feel like that's a bit too obvious, and maybe I'm being blindsided. But from what I've been seeing online, I think a lot of people are agreeing that it's going to be something to do with Ember, like Caleb is. But there we go. I don't think it's going to be 5.0. I think it's going to be too early. Caleb has not been out for a full year yet as of recording this video. I feel like the company would be a little bit silly to introduce another love interest now. I feel like if they were going to do that, I personally think they would wait until 6.0. But at the same time, I could also see it being 5.0, especially if we're getting a main story update, because it may potentially link to this love interest. But my initial gut suspicions is going to be that we're going to get a multi-banner for the anniversary. We're going to get some sort of main story update, as well as maybe a new love interest, but I'm going to put that on the Press X to Doubt screen. And I have also made a note of what's kind of happened on previous live streams. I actually went back and watched 2.0 and 3.0 before, and obviously 4.0, which I reacted to with Joru at the time. There's probably going to be increased character interaction that comes out. So probably, you know, new photo poses, daily outfits, fresh dialogue routes, maybe more voice lines for the nickname system. Because last time we had the sleep quality time introduced. I have a gut feeling they may potentially add more like that. It'd be cool if we, say, for example, had like a thing where we had a reading with him sort of thing. And if it was voiced, maybe, so the voice, like the actual voice actors are reading out a story for us, kind of similar to Secret, like just a similar quality time, but it's just the love interest reading the story, and you can pick it from a bunch of different ones, and maybe that's got something to do with the lore. That'd be pretty cool. Probably outstretching my luck there, but you know, that sort of thing, I feel like. And obviously things like the, you know, further additions to the Galaxy Explorer. So that's the, you know, where you do your coordinates and you get like a free card every day. But what I've noticed with Infold, and this is just talking generally now. For instance, I have been playing Hoyoverse games for a good number of years now. I started playing Genshin Impact in particular on Klee's second rerun, so that was during the Golden Apple Archipelago event. I've been taking a break from the game as of recent, but Hoyoverse always run a live stream every patch. Now, Info don't do that. They do it once every big patch, and I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. So this is where I'd be kind of looking to you guys for your opinions here. In a way, I like that they don't do the regular streams because it keeps us in suspense. But at this point, I feel like we just need some transparency from Infold, because we don't get any sort of ideas to when the trailer drops. And for people like me who are content creators, we're constantly getting up early in the morning to make sure that, you know, if a trailer drops, we're going to be the first people to get our videos out there, and then we're not going to miss it or potentially get spoiled from like our normal everyday lives. I do think as well that when it comes to the money side of things, the thing that comes to mind is the boycotting and the community. Now, I just want to disclaim, I'm not having to go at you individually at the camera. I'm talking about the community overall. This community can be incredibly toxic. And the community I have seen really, really bad. I don't want to pull, you know, I don't want to really stay on this topic for too long, because I don't really like to talk about negative things on this channel. But for instance, one of the things that comes immediately to mind is the time that Lexi stopped posting Love and Deepspace content because of how much she was being bullied by the community. She has since returned to the lads community, thank God. So I'm delighted to have her back. I've been enjoying watching her playing, you know, the myths. She recently played the Silas myth, and I basically nearly cried again with her. But when Lexi did leave the community, it left a very big gap. And don't get me wrong, this community is full of talented individuals. I have the pleasure of speaking to some of these people through a separate chat on the Love and Deepspace Discord server. And, you know, some of them I can now call my friends, which is amazing. And I really do hope that we continue to bring in more talent like that. However, what I will say, there is no transparency. We don't get told anything. And it does get a little bit frustrating when I am looking at a banner being like, oh, okay, so the banner's ending in, say, 3 days, right? Am I expecting a trailer tomorrow? Am I expecting it one day? Or am I expecting it after the banner's already ended? So what I end up doing is I end up setting an alarm for 3 a.m. in the morning to check if I get the notification of, has the video gone up? If it has, I'll get out of bed, quickly get ready, record the video, get it out, and 9 times out of 10 I'll either stay up at that point and just work on editing, or I'll just go back to bed. Because I'm based in the UK, so the videos drop at 3 a.m. in the morning for me, but that's not necessarily possible for everybody else. And, you know, we don't really get many official announcements on the Twitter. A lot of it is like running the fan art contests and things like that. So the developers really like to keep everything in suspense, and I just feel like as a community we want a bit of transparency, especially if, say, for example, it's a big one. So that's just my personal thoughts. There's probably a few things here on this list that I've actually either missed or just not really touched on. But overall, I want to say I do really appreciate the game and for what it's done for me as a community. I've found some amazing friends through Love and Deepspace, and some of you guys have found me through other games and not just Love and Deepspace content. But I would say, if someone were to say, Mim, what are you known for? My immediate reaction will be me screaming at Silas. You know, I'm realistic enough to know that's how I'm known, but I would really encourage you, and I actually invite you to talk about your opinions in the comments, because what I want to do is I want to take this video and then do another video similar maybe around this time next year, just so we can see if anything that I have said that needs to be potentially improved on or whatever gets improved, or if there's been any improvements, have we gone backwards. I think it'd be fun to do that, because I have really enjoyed seeing the development of this game as I've grown with the game, and I care about this game more than I care to admit. So, you know, I want to see this game thrive, I want to see this game succeed, and I want to continue growing and building an amazing family online of people like you. And I want to get some opinions. I want to see what you guys think, because some of you guys have been there like since the very beginning, some of you may only just be starting. So let me know, what are you enjoying about Love and Deepspace? What girly are you? Like, who are you most affiliated to? And let me know, what more do you want to see from the game in the future? Well, on that note, I've been rambling for over 27 minutes, so I am now going to shut that absolute hell up and get some videos edited. So thank you so much for listening / watching. Again, reach out to me in the comments. If you have any questions for me about my thoughts on something, please let me know, because I'm more than happy to answer any questions. And on that note, keep an eye out for some more videos next week, because I got a Zane card and a Wrath card coming. Maybe a Xavier one too. See you next week, guys. Bye!